Right now at 6, the first contested sheriff race in 16 years. The candidates say despite the race being partisan, they want to serve everyone the same.
And voters are going to the polls without hearing from the candidates from Wisconsin's 3rd District on the debate stage.
You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at 6.
Good evening and thanks for watching News 8 Now at 6. I'm Amy DuPont.
And I'm Ken Kozarowski. Attack ads are common during an election. A La Crosse race is the exception. The candidate for La Crosse County sheriffs are taking the political high road.
News 8 Now's Duas Rar spoke to both candidates who say the sheriff's race is bigger than the letter next to their name.
Amy and Ken, the La Crosse County Sheriff's race is being contested for the first time in 16 years. A passion for service is required for this La Crosse County job, but filling out a job application won't get you far.
Sheriff is a unique position because it is a constitutional position, meaning that it's elected.
When voters head to the polls on November 8th, they will choose between Fritz Leinfelder and John Siegel as the next sheriff of La Crosse County.
They both have a lot of experience. They both are considered pretty evenly handed.
Earlier this year, Sheriff Jeff Wolf announced he would be stepping down after one term. Prior to Wolf, Steve Helgeson held the position for 12 years.
Incumbency means everything in those types of positions.
This is the first time since 2006 that two candidates are running in a general election.
The opportunity to run for sheriff doesn't come very often.
According to Article 6 of the Wisconsin Constitution, sheriffs shall be chosen by the electors of the respective counties during the same time as the governor's race.
Everything on the ballot of a November election is partisan in nature.
Leinfelder is running as a Republican. Siegel is running as a Democrat. Political analyst Joe Heim says none of that matters.
This is the type of position you want to vote for the person, not the party.
Both candidates agree.
If I'm a certain political party and I have a victim of a crime that's a different political party, that we're not going to be able to serve justice for that person. That's ridiculous, and it won't happen that way.
I think that we should represent everybody at the county.
Leinfelder says although political affiliation doesn't matter at the sheriff's level,
it's a system that's been in play. It's worked, and I don't foresee it changing anytime soon.
Siegel says he hopes sheriff's races continue to focus on a person's experience.
Law enforcement should have that higher standard of we serve everyone, we protect everyone, and this sheriff's race should be no different.
Heim says as partisanship trickles down to the local level, the future of the sheriff's race may look different.
I don't expect it to get partisan in the normal sense of that term. However, I probably could have said that a few years back about other races as well.
Now, this is just one of the 17 contested sheriff's races this year in the state of Wisconsin.
All right, thanks, Dua.
The election, of course, 1 week from today, Tuesday, November 8th.
The Eau Claire Police Department is asking for the public's help finding a missing woman. 28-year-old Jennifer Weidinger was last seen Thursday in the Barstow Street area of downtown Eau Claire. Police say her hair may be dyed blue or green.
If anyone has any information, they are asked to contact Eau Claire Police. You can also submit a tip to the Eau Claire County Crime Stoppers. We'll have more information posted on news8000.com as it appears.
Well, a good Tuesday evening to you. Boy, temperatures today in the lower to middle 70s. Probably had you double checking the calendar to make sure today was the first day of November, as these temperatures are more typical of what we would see in mid to late September. Again, 74 degrees, the high in La Crosse. Mostly clear sky and really a beautiful evening for outdoor plans or just to take a walk. Maybe take the four-legged friend out for a stroll, but just some high clouds to the north and west of La Crosse. You saw a few of those off to the west on CityCam. We're down to 66 now in La Crosse and Sparta, 68 in Winona, 62 in Eau Claire, 64 in Viroqua, and 68 in Prairie du Chien. So that's the deal with this very dry air that's in place. Yeah, it cools off rapidly at night, but it also heats up very quickly during the day. That's why we saw lows in the 30s this morning and highs in the 70s this afternoon. Now, not quite as chilly overnight tonight. Temperatures primarily in the 40s for lows, including about 48 here in La Crosse. Boy, we could be flirting with record territory tomorrow with another very warm day in store. All the details coming up.
All right. Thanks very much, Bill.
Well, voters in Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District won't hear from the candidates on the debate stage.
People will have to learn about them on their own. Our Jordan Fremstad explains why one candidate chose to stay silent.
'Tis the season.
We saved our pitchforks for lifting hay.
A familiar cadence echoes over the airwaves.
You never had a job outside of politics.
Election attack ads inundate our lives.
What the path?
It's kind of interesting.
I'm Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message.
You have to take each one with a grain of salt.
Seriously? What the path?
They pronounced my name right. I give them credit for that.
Wisconsin's 3rd congressional district became an open seat after Ron Kine called it a career.
We have a broken political system today.
After 25 years.
What's going on in Washington makes a big difference.
Candidates normally take their platform to a professional environment where journalists get to ask them real questions. It gives people an authentic perspective of the people who might represent them in their district. However, one of those candidates won't debate.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Republican candidate Derek Van Orden declined Democrat Brad Pfaff's challenge to a debate.
Candidates don't always want everybody to know exactly where they stand on issues.
Van Orden also turned down a candidate interview with Leader Ethics.
Really pleased to introduce Brad Pfaff.
4 or 5 times they tried to contact Van Orden, never got a response.
Political analyst Joe Heim would know. He serves on the board. Van Orden's sizable lead in likely voter polls, Heim says, could explain Van Orden's silence.
And if your candidate is well ahead, why gamble and do a debate?
Nationwide, candidates of both parties are pulling away from the traditional debate platform. In this year's top 5 Senate races, there's been only 6 debates, compared to 17 in 2010. Republican Carrie Lake, running for governor in Arizona, is blasting her Democratic opponent for doing the same.
I would love it if she would show up because I think there's a lot of important issues that the people of Arizona need to hear about.
However, Van Orden's social media offers plenty of words.
Or it might be the 9.1% inflation.
He holds town hall events where his supporters ask the questions.
Federal government needs to be cheerleaders for the police department.
They may or may not ask the right questions, to be blunt.
This leaves out other issues.
I wasn't part of an armed insurrection on January 6th.
And you'd like to hear it from the person's mouth exactly how they explain it.
Heim would like to know more about Pfaff's life.
I'd like to know a little bit more about his background before he entered politics.
Just like a job interview.
They had to share kind of a vision of how they see themselves in the role that they're applying for.
Voters will have to rely on their own knowledge.
They're the losers. That's the sad part of it. We don't know enough about the candidates without having things like debates.
How can voters trust their representation in Washington?
You are not a dictator. You're one of 535 people.
When half of their neighbors' questions are ignored.
I think debates provide a service for people.
Van Orden's campaign has said they would do a town hall style of event, but nothing has been organized. We reached out to his campaign multiple times, but he did not respond to our request for an interview. Now, since there won't be a debate, we will include information about both candidates that you can read about and check out before you head to the polls on Election Day next Tuesday. In La Crosse, I'm Jordan Fremstead, News 8 Now.
And there are a lot of places to seek out information about those candidates.
For sure, Heim recommends reading up on the candidates as much as possible before you cast your ballots on
Not
Tuesday.
just this race, all the races.
All the races, of course.
Do your research. Well, if you received an absentee ballot by mail and you have not yet returned it, the USPS suggests you do it today.
According to the Postal Service, it can take up to 7 days for your local clerk to receive your ballot in the mail. You can still go to your clerk's office to drop off your ballot or drop it off at the polls on November 8th.
Has to be there by the time they close.
That's right.
Still ahead, Western Tech and UWL are teaming up.
A new credit transfer agreement will help students transferring between the schools.
I was in law enforcement for over 40 years, and I can't imagine a better attorney general than Josh Kaul. He's a real prosecutor who's locked up murderers, serial rapists, the really dangerous guys you want off the street, and kept them behind bars. And he'll work with anyone, Republican or Democrat, to get it done. Look, there's more we have to do, but the only one I'd want leading the fight against crime is our Attorney General, Josh Kaul.
With the right tools and a little hard work, you can do it yourself. And with the right kind of paint, you can finish the job faster. Pittsburgh Paints and Stains exceeds your expectations with products that can cover your walls in one coat. So instead of another coat of paint, you can finally get outside. One coat paint means time better spent. Pittsburgh Paints and Stains, exclusively at Menards.
Breaking news in Dallas, Texas, where at least 5 police officers were killed when they were ambushed.
This was the deadliest day for U.S. law enforcement since 9/11.
Just days after this horrific crime, Mandela Barnes appeared on Vladimir Putin's propaganda news outlet and rationalized violence against American police officers.
Police officers are over-exercising their badges. This probably was a retaliatory attack.
Do you want Mandela Barnes representing you in the Senate?
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
We didn't forget about the crumbs at the bottom of the bag. We're just prolonging our time with every last bit of crispy, juicy tender.
Enjoy the crispy chicken sandwich and pair it with medium fries and a $1 any size Diet Dr. Pepper.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Under Tony Evers and Joe Biden, it's been bad, but it's gonna get much worse because winter is coming. That's right. Reports are saying natural gas heating bills are going up by 28%. Inflation has already caused pain at the pump, grocery checkout, on rent. But this fall, there's still time to stop the winter pain by voting no on Tony Evers before he makes it even worse, if that's possible.
Culligan Water delivers. From your first call, to your first sip, to your first soak. Culligan, give us a tap. The only water that comes with a van.
His job was to serve and protect. Instead, reports say Dave Estenson assaulted and preyed on girls for years. One report of sexually assaulting a teenager. Multiple reports of Estenson trying to coerce girls into sexual favors to avoid citations. And Estenson wants to ban all abortions, forcing victims of rape and incest to carry their predator's child. Sexual predators belong behind bars, not in the state Senate.
Officials at Western Technical College and the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse have signed multiple transfer agreements, which they say will be beneficial for both UWL and Western students.
Transferring between colleges, if you've done it, you know it's stressful because some of your credits may not transfer. Western Technical College's president says these agreements will make it easier for students to keep the credits they work so hard for.
You can take a class and then hope it transfers. Or you can work with advisors and work with professionals that help you in the front end, and then you take a class and you know that it transfers. What we've organized here is transfers that are guaranteed to bring 60 credits.
So once students complete their Associate of Arts degree at Western, they can be admitted to UWL's psychology, business, and exercise and sports science programs.
So remember back in September when the 17th annual Stepping Out in Pink was canceled due to the rain?
Yeah.
Well, didn't go as planned, but we have good news. The fundraising walk has met its goal of raising $350,000 to support breast cancer research and patients.
And that goal met with the help of the 4,000 people who participated and 350 volunteers. Now, the 18th annual event is scheduled for Saturday, September 9th next year. But you can still support this year's event. We'll have a link at news8000.com with more information.
You know, they were so devastated, Tia and her staff, but man, the community stepped up. Downtown businesses hosted the people for the vendors market, so way to go, La Crosse area.
Awesome community.
Still ahead, Wisconsin is offering grant money for private well owners.
Thousands of dollars are available for people who need to fix or abandon their well.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Bill Grahl. Another warm day in store for tomorrow. In fact, perhaps record warmth for some. All the details of my 8-day forecast coming up next.
It's been called too good to be true, but a local man's shocking footage proved this saucy legend is very real.
I knew the burger was real.
Bite into the new A1 Double Cheeseburger for only $2.99, only at Hardee's.
The Cooley region has been good to me and my family, and I wanted to give something back. That's why I ran for the state assembly. And I've tried to do good things in Madison for the people of Western Wisconsin. Wisconsin is facing a lot of problems today, and we need people who understand how things work. Right now, Wisconsin has a $5 billion surplus. With that surplus, we need to cut taxes. We need to fix our roads, and we need to fund our schools, and we need to do that now.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning has been providing year-round comfort to thousands of area homes for over 80 years.
But to us, it's more than just heating and cooling. It's about making sure our customer is comfortable every step of the way.
From the people that answer the phones to the technicians that come to your door, you can trust that we'll get the job done right the first time.
That's our goal, whether it's a new installation or a service call, is to make sure you're comfortable.
turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Democrats defunded and dispirited our police, creating the worst crime wave in decades. Biden spent us into 40-year high inflation, drove gas prices to record levels, and opened our borders, causing a flood of illegal immigrants and deadly drugs. Mandela Barnes supports all the policies causing you and your family so much pain. He will rubber stamp their liberal agenda. Mandela Barnes sides with radical leftists, not with you.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
All units, all units. Reports of an abortion at Central Hospital. Officers needed to detain doctor.
If Ron Johnson has his way, he wouldn't just ban abortions. Doctors could go to jail for it. And Johnson's tried for over a decade. He even co-sponsored a bill with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the woman. And said if women don't like an abortion ban, they can just move. But it's Ron Johnson who doesn't belong in Wisconsin.
They're calling it the craziest Black Friday deal ever.
How to get the new A1 double cheeseburger for just $2.99 without having to fight anyone's aunt.
They're stronger than you'd think.
Bite into the new A1 double cheeseburger for only $2.99, only at Hardee's.
You expect more, so thank you for watching News 8 Now.
Grant applications are open for Wisconsinites who need help with their private wells.
The state is putting $10 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds toward a well compensation and abandonment program. Now, this money is for residents, not local governments or school districts.
Landowners can use that money to replace, reconstruct, treat, or abandon their well. According to the Secretary of the DNR, there are roughly 800,000 wells in Wisconsin, and he says many are in bad shape.
And we know that families, specifically young families or senior citizens that live with wells that are crumbling, that they don't have ready access to capital to put their well in good condition.
Landowners can get up to $16,000. The DNR posted application forms online, and we'll have a link to those on news8000.com.
If I could have spent all day outside today, I would have.
Absolutely.
Even now, if I had the chance, Chief Meteorologist Bill Grant, I'd be out there because this is just gorgeous,
Perfect.
Especially for this time of year.
Yeah, it sure is. Temperature is still in the 60s as we speak, believe it or not. But hey, today, even though the temperatures didn't feel like it, was November 1st, so we just wrapped up the month of October. Here's how it compared to average. It was drier than average and slightly cooler than average. Average temperature 51.1, so only 0.6 degrees below average. And very typical in October, you get a big temperature swing. 81 was the warmest temperature on the 22nd, and look at that, just 3 days earlier, our coldest temperature of 23 degrees was recorded. Rainfall, 1.04 inches, so about 1.5 inches below average. 9 out of the 10 months now this year, 2022, have been drier than average. Only one, June, was above average in terms of moisture, but not by much. Snowfall, not a big deal there, just a trace, and we normally don't expect a lot in October, just 0.3 on average. Nice afterglow once again with the twilight over downtown La Crosse. 74 beautiful degrees after a low of 37, so very dry air. It's able to efficiently cool off overnight, but also warm up significantly during the day. In fact, 20 degrees above average. 80 degrees is today's record high set in 1933. And again, with all those dry months, we are about 6.5 inches below average for the year in terms of precipitation. 66 degrees out at the airport, 68 downtown at the station. Dew points are quite dry in the 30s, so relative humidity only 33% here in La Crosse, 39% for you folks up in Eau Claire with a temperature of 62 degrees. And again, that's that dry air that warmed nicely today and cools off quickly once we lose the sun. Look at these temperatures though, 60s and 70s all the way to the U.S.-Canadian border. That is abnormal for early November. Temperatures still in the 60s for most, even a 68 in Boscobel and Winona, 66 in Sparta, and 67 in Prairie du Chien. Winds out of the south at about 5 to 10, and just some high clouds passing across parts of the area this evening, but warm air thanks to this ridge of high pressure, clockwise flow around it, southerly wind flow, and that's why temperatures are so mild and will continue to be so for 2 more days. Now tonight mainly clear, tomorrow sunny to partly cloudy, south winds continue, and that's why temperatures are going to be so warm. And then as we head into Thursday, clouds increase in advance of a cold front moving across the northern plains. Eventually some of this moisture will start to expand into our area as we head into Thursday night with some much needed rainfall. So for tomorrow, look at these temperatures, mid 70s for highs. Right around 75 or 76 degrees is the way it's looking in the La Crosse area. Low to mid 70s down to the south as well. More the same as we head to the north. Low to mid 70s will be common all across the region. Right around 73 or 74 degrees for Altoona, Fall Creek, and Eau Claire and Chippewa Falls. So for tonight, mainly clear, milder temperatures primarily in the 40s, 48 in La Crosse, so not as chilly as the past several nights. 76 tomorrow. The record is 75, set way back in 1938, so that could be in jeopardy with a sunny to partly cloudy sky, breezy south winds as well. Also breezy Thursday, 73 with increasing clouds. And again, much needed rainfall. Periods of rain, a pretty good bet. Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday. Maybe even some thunder Thursday night and Friday. And that also cools us back closer to average with highs in the 50s Saturday right through much of next week. And Election Day, a slight chance of showers. Temperatures around 58 degrees. Definitely no excuse to not get out and vote. And again, don't forget to set your clocks back an hour as you head to bed Saturday night with the end of daylight saving time.
All right. Wow.
Good stuff there.
I know. It's beautiful. Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
After the break, the NFL trade deadline has passed, and Green Bay stayed quiet.
And the Packers have announced 2 former players to next year's Hall of Fame. Kate is the next to tell you who's on the list.
Whether it's windows or doors, siding or sunrooms, baths or kitchens, we've got you covered with our on-staff installers, plumbers, and electricians. Don't lose sleep trying to coordinate it all yourself. We're here to take the pain out of your next remodel. Call or visit today.
Radical Tim Michaels is extremely divisive.
I don't care who I offend.
And at his company, the culture comes from the top. Multiple court filings say women were sexually assaulted, harassed, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
If she refused demands for sex, she would be blackballed from working on a pipeline job.
Higher-ups dismissed the women as liars and fired those who spoke out.
I don't care who I offend.
That's how Tim Michaels runs his company. Don't let him run our state.
Wisconsin is a home of workers. We know it needs to get done, and we do it. Yet, we've been hit hard, some harder than others. Our contact may be limited, but we still can lift each other up. The Keep Wisconsin Warm Cool Fund and your local energy providers are working together to help keep your heat and power on. You may not ask for it, but we want you to know we're here.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal, come have a taste of Wisconsin.
America's Dairyland,
as in real dairy.
It gives Culver's fresh frozen custard its famous rich and creamy flavor. Like really rich.
So rich.
Rich and creamy.
And our cook-to-order Butterburgers?
They're topped with, you guessed it,
Wisconsin cheese.
But it's the smiles we put on your face with every meal made just for you.
That really makes our hearts melt. From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
I'm Steve Doyle. Public safety has always been my priority. I've been endorsed by the Wisconsin Professional Police Association, the state's largest law enforcement organization. These are the men and women who put their lives on the line every day to keep us safe. They've had our backs, and I've had theirs. I don't just talk about public safety. I have a record of supporting our officers, cracking down on dangerous criminals, and fighting to keep our community safe. That's why I'm the candidate of law enforcement.
Covering all of the exciting action from your community, here's News 8 Now Sports.
Well, the NFL trade deadline has officially passed. Usually there's a few deals here and there, nothing too crazy, but that was different today. It felt like an NBA or even an MLB deadline, and the Packers were quiet while the rest of the division was making moves. Over in Minnesota, they were going after a new tight end after the news of Irv Smith Jr. going on the IR, and they got a really good one. TJ Hawkinson is now a Minnesota Viking after they sent over a 2023 second-round pick and a 2024 third-round pick to Detroit. Minnesota also getting another fourth-round pick in return. But this is really big news for the Vikings. Hawkinson has been one of the best tight ends in the league since being drafted in 2019. He won the Mackey Award for Best College Tight End in 2018. Not only is he a threat in the passing game, he's one of the best blocking tight ends as well to help with their run game. A huge get for the 6-1 Minnesota Vikings. And after trading away Roquan Smith yesterday, the Bears were making moves again today, this time getting another weapon for their young QB. They got Chase Claypool from the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for a 2023 second-round pick. Claypool was originally a second-round pick in 2020 and had 9 touchdowns his rookie year. He's had just 3 touchdowns since, but the Bears will hope to unlock his potential now that he has a new team. Not sure this is going to help them a ton this year, but Chicago's is definitely building for a bright future. One thing Green Bay did do today is they announced that former Packers Jordy Nelson and Josh Sitton will be inducted into the Packers Hall of Fame in 2023. It's the franchise's 52nd Hall of Fame induction. Now, Jordy Nelson was selected by the Packers in the second round of the 2008 draft, and for 9 seasons he wore the Packers colors just as well as anyone. He ranks 4th in the team history for receptions. He's number 6 in receiving yards and number 3 in touchdown receptions. And of course, helping the Packers win a Super Bowl with 9 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. Josh Sitton was a 4th-round pick in that same draft. He played 8 seasons on the offensive line for Green Bay, starting in 112 of 121 regular season games. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, and a key part of the offensive line every year. The official banquet will be next August. Now, college basketball is starting up, and with that, ESPN released their list of the best women's college basketball players, where former Aquinas basketball star Lexi Donarski was listed at 24. She's coming off of a sophomore year where she was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Now, as a junior, the team is even better, and Donarski will be a huge part of their success. That's all I have for sports. We'll be right back.
They found my sister's head in a wood-burning stove, her body in a cornfield, murdered by her own husband. The judge called it the most heinous crime he'd ever seen, and the killer was sent to jail for life. The Tony Evers Parole Commission set him free, and they didn't even tell us. Under Evers, hundreds of other violent criminals have been released early. It makes no sense. Governor Evers, everyone in Wisconsin is less safe because of you.
Stay warm and cozy this winter with La Crosse Fire Paste Company and receive a 26% federal tax credit. Unlike a traditional metal wood stove, a Hearthstone soapstone wood stove delivers consistent heat using beautiful soapstone. Purchase before the end of the year and receive a 26% federal tax credit on the entire package and installation. La Crosse Fire Paste Company, because your place is by the fire.
The governor's basic responsibility is to keep us safe, strong, and thriving.
We all know that's not happening.
Tim Michels, a new direction for Wisconsin.
This election is about what a governor's gonna do. I'm gonna put more money in the pockets of the hardworking families of Wisconsin. We're gonna have safer communities, and we're gonna have better schools. That's what I'm gonna do as your governor.
I'm Tim Michels. If you're ready for a new direction, hop in.
Tim Michels for governor.
We have a pretty big choice to make in this election, and it's about whether women get to keep their right to choose. I'm pro-choice. Always have been, always will be. Derek Van Orden wants to ban abortion, with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the mother. He'll do anything to take away your right to choose. I'll do anything to protect it. That's the choice in this election. And now, it's up to you. I'm Brad Paff, and I approve this message.
Gorgeous evening, clear sky for most of the night, and temperatures not quite as chilly as the past couple of nights. In the 40s for most to right near 50 degrees. Couple more warm days, breezy as well. Low to mid 70s tomorrow and Thursday. That 76 would be a record high in the Cross. The current record 75. Finally, some rain chances return Thursday night, and then periods of rain, a good bet Friday and Saturday.
I'm feeling a cold come on. I might have to stay home and take in the sunshine.
We'll see you at 10.